What's up, my people? What's up? What's up? Oh boy, what a fight. What a shock in the boxing world. Usyk just beat Joshua by convincing unanimous decision. Let's talk about it. For those of you who saw the fight, I picked Usyk to win this fight. I picked Usyk to win this fight because of what I saw in previous fights, and that is the fact that Anthony Joshua is regressing as a fighter. And it was very clear in that fight that he's regressing as a fighter. For people who didn't know what I was talking about, who I talked to, well, now you see what I mean. And this happens a lot. First, let's talk about the fight. Usyk came out, first of all, dominated the cruiserweight division, which was a thick division, dominated it, moved up to heavyweight, becomes the second fighter to go from cruiserweight champion to undisputed cruiserweight champion to heavyweight champion. Of course, James Toney won a portion of the cruiserweight title, moved up and won a portion of the heavyweight title before he was stripped. But Usyk becomes second fighter ever to do that after the legendary Vander Holyfield. Fight to start from the beginning, you could see that he was going to be a problem for Joshua with his experience, his movement, his ability to his quickness. Fighters come up to heavyweight division from light heavyweight and cruiserweight division always have an advantage in speed and the ability to be more versatile. And we saw that in the fight. He rocked Joshua early in the fight, which was what I wanted to see. We knew Usyk would be faster, more experienced, more skilled, but could he have the power to hurt Joshua and make Joshua respect him? And we saw early he could. He hurt Joshua early. Kept him, and that kept him pretty much, that kept Joshua minding his manners, so to speak. Anthony Joshua looked lost. And he looked lost for a couple of reasons. Let's get back to talking about the actual fight. Usyk dominated early, using his movement, his herky-jerking, his borrowed a little bit from his countryman, Vasily Lomachenko, in his movement. Kept Anthony Joshua off balance, kept Joshua not seeing many southpaws, didn't know what to do with the slick southpaw like Usyk. So he kept him off balance. Joshua had his moments in the middle rounds, but Usyk weathered the storm. Joshua could never land any more than one big punch at a time, and against a monster like Usyk, that's not going to work. Late in the fight, after Joshua rallied a little bit, Usyk came on strong, responded great. Anytime Joshua would have a good round, Usyk would come back and respond great. Closed the last two rounds, the championship rounds. It was Usyk who closed the show. Dominated the 11, hurt Joshua bad in the 12th. Joshua tried to play it up, and he was hurt bad. So got a unanimous decision, really deserved it, worked hard for it. Congratulations to Usyk, he deserved that win. Joshua looked lost, like I said before, and let's get into that. He looked lost for a couple of reasons. The first reason, we already alluded to it a little bit, is he's regressing, and he's regressing for one obvious reason, and it's why a lot of fighters regress or don't grow as they prosper in boxing. When Joshua first came out, he was 22-0 with 21 knockouts, which tells you he's used to not going the distance. He has punching power. He can knock guys out. But what happened to him is what happens to a lot of guys like him who are bona fide punchers who can knock people out with one punch. He got too enamored with his own punching power and did not progress in other areas of his game. He got used to fighting all those C-class heavyweights, and now people see what I was talking about, C-class heavyweights, because Joshua looks Muhammad Ali-esque against all of those big galoots he was in that fight, moving, dancing, landing punches at will. But against a slick, skilled, seasoned, great like Usyk, he was a statue most of that fight. Fanning with his hand, not throwing a hard jab, but fanning, looping, fanning punches, standing straight up, getting caught. He looked lost. And he looked like a man who, as so many fighters had, knocked some people out, said that's all I got to do is throw knockout punches, and didn't grow any more of his game. Didn't grow any skill, any boxing skill, any savvy. It showed a lot in that fight. And that happens to a lot of punchers. A lot of punchers, can bomb people out. And 10 years into their career, that's all they're doing. They're still bombing people out or getting beaten themselves because they haven't progressed. That's what makes people like Sugar Ray Robinson, Archie Moore, Tommy Hearns, such standout all-time greats. These are guys who had concussive one-punch knockout power, but they were well-rounded in other areas. Sugar Ray Robinson had concussive knockout punch power in both fists, but was one of the sweetest boxers of all time, which is why he's considered pound for pound the greatest. The combination of knockout power and boxing skill, no other fighter in history has matched that from Sugar Ray Robinson. Thomas Hitman Hearns, who reminded us in 1981 how great of a boxer he could be when he had to become boxer to rally to keep Sugar Ray Leonard off him. Even though Leonard won that fight, we learned a lot about Hearns, and over the years, Hearns was just as known for his slick boxing as he was for his brutal punching power. And let's not even talk about the old mongoose Archie Moore, who had all kind of tricks and slick boxing tactics, as well as having most knockouts in boxing history. So those fighters are held in such high regard because they didn't just become enamored with their own punching power and didn't grow in other areas. And it looks like that's what's happened to AJ. It looks like now he's nothing more than a guy who just likes to try to land a big shot, and that's not going to get it done. The second reason why he looked lost in the ring, and I've said this to people for years, I know there are a lot of people who swear by heavyweight boxing, who swear that heavyweight boxing, you're looking at the top talent when you're looking at heavyweight boxing. You're looking at the biggest punches when you're looking at heavyweight boxers, but you're not looking at the most talented fighters. And Usyk showed it. Again, when Josh was in there against other heavyweights, he looks slick, he looks fluid, he moves well, but against a lighter guy who's used to throwing more fluid combinations, quicker combinations, and doing more in the ring, he looked lost. And that happens anytime a fighter comes up to the heavyweight division who is a light heavyweight or a cruiserweight. They make heavyweights look lost because they have more skill at the lower weights. More skill. There's more power at the heavyweight division, and people get excited about the heavyweight division for that reason. But the skill belonged to the lower weight guys. That's why Roy Jones climbed to heavyweight and clowned Ruiz. James Toney did the same thing. Evander Holyfield was so successful. And we see Usyk so successful because lighter guys have more skill. They're used to fighting people who can do more, not just punch. What makes Muhammad Ali so special is Muhammad Ali went up to a heavyweight division, fought in a heavyweight division, grew up idolizing Sugar Ray Robinson, trained to fight just like Ray, grew into a heavyweight, but had already muscle memory, his muscle memory and his training all through the years already had him conditioned and primed to fight like Ray Robinson. So here you have this heavyweight who's in a division where guys are used to maybe throwing 1, 2 to 3 punches at a time the most, and he's moving from side to side, landing punches while moving, throwing 15, 16 punch blistering combinations. That's why Muhammad Ali was so great. That's why he was able to, even after the layoff, he was able to still dominate because he was so far ahead of everyone else, because he was a heavyweight physically, but he was a middleweight skill-wise. And so we saw today Usyk use lower weight skill, hand speed, lateral movement, things that heavyweights aren't used to seeing, things that Joshua isn't used to seeing, and he dominated Joshua. He didn't win that fight barely. That fight wasn't contested. He beat Joshua. He beat him, and I don't know if something was wrong with Joshua, if he took the fight lightly because he was fighting a cruiserweight. But I know he got thoroughly dominated. And for me, this fight proves once again that the lower weight guys have more skill than heavyweights. The fallout from this fight, what does this mean? Well, we know that there won't be a fight between Joshua and Tyson Fury, even if he comes back and wins the rematch. Nobody's interested in that fight now. You've taken 2 losses, and your past 4 fights. Nobody wants to see you now. Your aura is gone. When you were a young undefeated guy knocking everybody out, yeah, you had an aura, but now that aura is gone. So what's going to happen in the heavyweight division now? I think it's Tyson Fury's the rule. I think he'll beat Wilder again, and I think he'll rule. I don't think Usyk will be able to beat someone 6'9", 270, who himself is slick and has movement and slick lower weight division type movement. So I don't think that fight is something that people will be too excited to see. Of course, if it happens, it happens, and of course I'll watch. But wow, Anthony Joshua loses again. So where does that leave the heavyweight division. And does this breathe life into the heavyweight division? Does this breathe life into the heavyweight division? Because we have this wildly popular Eastern European, Ukrainian fighter who people love, and he's the heavyweight champion of the world now. So, and we know Anthony Joshua has this huge British following, but with Usyk winning, does he bring just as big a following? I mean, we see how wildly popular people are about Triple G, how wildly popular people like Vasily Lomachenko are. So Usyk, I mean, I think he has an opportunity to become a wildly popular heavyweight champion. So I'm not taking this loss like a lot of people. A lot of people are like, oh, Joshua lost. You know, the heavyweight division is going to go down because we were needing that fight between him and Fury. But I disagree. I think that Usyk, his wildly popular fan base, will carry the day. And I think it's awesome that a cruiserweight, the guy who dominated cruiserweight, is the heavyweight champion of the world. Guy's got personality, which Joshua doesn't. Let's be honest. Joshua he's a Brillo pad. Usyk has personality. He's a warrior. He's a fighter's fighter. He doesn't talk much crap, but he gets out there and he gets it done. So I'm liking the win, and I'm liking the place the heavyweight division can possibly be, because this guy is a workhorse. He might not be your favorite fighter, but you got to give it up to him. Guy walked in there against a 6'6", 230-pound Anthony Joshua and handed it to him. So, what do you guys think? What is your thoughts on the Joshua loss, the Usyk win? Where do you think Joshua goes from here? Where do you think Usyk goes from here? Do you want to see Usyk fight the winner of Fury Wilder? Do you want to see him stay at heavyweight? Obviously, he'll stay at heavyweight because that's where the money is. Is this good or is this bad for the heavyweight division? Let me know how you feel. It's your boy Al. Don't forget to click like. Don't forget to click subscribe. Tell people about the page. If you want to talk boxing with somebody who knows boxing, holla at your boy. Peace.